What comes to mind when you hear the word psychopath? Maybe you picture a cold-blooded serial killer, a villain from a crime thriller, or a ruthless CEO who would do anything for power. But what if I told you that psychopathy is much more complex and much closer to home than you might think? What if, right now, you've encountered a psychopath today without even realizing it? Or even scarier, what if some of these traits sound familiar to you? Psychopaths walk among us. They could be your boss, your neighbor, or even a close friend. Unlike what movies might suggest, not all psychopaths are violent criminals. In fact, some of the most successful people in society exhibit psychopathic traits: cold rationality, emotional detachment, and a lack of empathy. These traits can make a person dangerous, but they can also make them highly functional in specific environments. Today, we're diving deep into the psychology of psychopaths. We'll explore what psychopathy really is, how it manifests in the brain, and why some psychopaths blend seamlessly into society while others spiral into chaos. By the end of this video, you'll understand the science behind psychopathy, how to recognize its traits, and why it's not always what it seems. And maybe, just maybe, you'll start to wonder, could someone you know be a psychopath? Psychopathy is a personality disorder characterized by a distinct set of traits: persistent antisocial behavior, a lack of empathy, and impulsive or manipulative tendencies. But despite popular belief, not all psychopaths are violent or criminal. Many of them navigate society with surprising ease, using their charm and manipulation skills to get exactly what they want. One of the most widely used tools for identifying psychopathy is the Psychopathy Checklist Revised, PCLR, developed by psychologist Dr. Robert Hare. This checklist includes traits like superficial charm, grandiosity, pathological lying, lack of remorse, shallow emotions, and a tendency toward manipulation. If a person scores 30 or higher on this scale, they are classified as a psychopath. But scoring lower doesn't mean someone isn't dangerous, it just means they're better at hiding it. So, what makes a psychopath different from everyone else? The answer lies in their brain. Studies show that the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for decision-making and impulse control, is often underactive in psychopaths. This is why they struggle to regulate emotions and often act recklessly. Another key difference lies in the amygdala, the brain's emotional processing center. In a normal brain, the amygdala helps us feel fear, empathy, and guilt. But in a psychopath, this area is significantly impaired. This is why they can lie, cheat, and hurt others without feeling any remorse. And then there's dopamine, the neurotransmitter responsible for pleasure and reward. Psychopaths have an overactive dopamine system, meaning they constantly seek stimulation and excitement. This can make them highly impulsive, always chasing the next thrill, whether it's money, power, or even violence. One of the most terrifying aspects of psychopathy is how well these individuals can blend in. They are masters of deception, wearing a mask of sanity to appear completely normal, sometimes even charming. They know exactly what to say and how to act to manipulate those around them. And because they don't experience emotions the same way we do, they can mimic them flawlessly. Have you ever met someone who seemed too good to be true? Someone who knew exactly what to say, who always made you feel special, but who, deep down, felt empty. That's the chilling reality of the psychopath. In relationships, psychopaths are expert manipulators. They use charm and deception to win people over, only to discard them when they're no longer useful. They gaslight, they lie, and they make their victims doubt their own reality. Many people who have been in relationships with psychopaths describe it as an emotional roller coaster. One moment, they feel loved and adored, the next, they feel discarded and worthless. And here's where it gets even more complicated. Psychopathy exists on a spectrum. Some psychopaths are violent criminals, while others are highly functional members of society. In fact, some of the world's most powerful and successful people have psychopathic traits. Think about it: lack of empathy, fearlessness, charm, and manipulation. These traits can be disastrous in personal relationships, but they can be incredibly beneficial in high-stakes professions like business, law, or politics. Studies suggest that corporate psychopaths make up about 4% of CEOs, a rate 4 times higher than in the general population. These individuals thrive in competitive environments, using their ruthlessness and charisma to climb the ladder, often at the expense of others. But where does psychopathy come from? Is it something people are born with, or is it shaped by their environment? The answer is both. Research suggests that psychopathy has a strong genetic component. Twin studies have shown that psychopathic traits are highly heritable, meaning they can be passed down through generations. However, environmental factors also play a role. Childhood abuse, neglect, or trauma can exacerbate psychopathic tendencies, but they don't necessarily create them. In some cases, psychopathic traits can even be beneficial. Imagine being a surgeon performing a high-risk operation. If you were overwhelmed by fear or empathy, you might hesitate or make mistakes. In this context, the ability to detach emotionally and focus solely on the task at hand could be a valuable asset. But can psychopaths change? This is one of the most hotly debated questions in psychology. Some experts believe psychopathy is untreatable. After all, how do you teach someone to feel emotions they've never experienced? Others argue that early intervention can help reduce harmful behaviors, particularly in children who show callous unemotional traits. One thing is clear: psychopaths rarely seek help. Because they don't see their actions as problematic, they have little motivation to change. Traditional therapy often fails because it relies on emotional insight, something psychopaths lack. So, what can we do? The most important thing is awareness. Understanding psychopathy helps us recognize these traits in others and protect ourselves from manipulation. It's not about labeling people or living in fear, it's about knowing how to navigate a world where psychopathy exists. Psychopathy is not just about serial killers or criminals. It's about a fundamental difference in the way some people experience the world. It's a disorder of emotion, of morality, and of connection. Some psychopaths destroy lives, while others thrive in the highest levels of society. So, next time you meet someone who seems too charming, too fearless, too perfect, ask yourself, is it real? Or is it just a mask? If you found this video insightful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into psychology. Let me know in the comments, do you think psychopaths can change? Or are they forever trapped behind the mask they wear?